right, problem 5-59. 7 years ago, Cody found a box of old baseball cards in the garage. Since then, he has added a consistent number of cards to the collection each year. He had 52 cards in the collection after 3 years, and now has 108 cards. Problem A, how many cards were in the original box? Alright, so let's get started on this problem by drawing a table. That's going to help us probably organize our values of cards. So I'm going to say this is the year, and this is the cards, number of cards. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to say year 0 is today. I'm going to start that over here, because we need to go back in time, right? It said 7 years ago, so this is from today. So I'm going to go back 7 years from that. So that's back 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Okay, so this is the 7 year ago mark. He has added a consistent amount of cards since then. So this is where he began his collection. And he had 52 cards in the collection after 3 years of collecting. Now he has 108. So we can fill in the now, 108 right here. And 3 years since the time he started. Well, this is where he started the collection. So 3 years from then, 1, 2, here's after 3 years. And he had 52 cards then. So just setting up this table is going to help organize everything because it's a little bit confusing to take it all in at once. So how many cards were in the original box? Well, we're going to have to figure out the common difference and go backwards to find this value. So just like in a previous question, I'm going to make 2 points and find the slope, or find the common difference. So those are our 2 points, all right? And I'm going to find the slope with those. So I have, let's say 108 minus 52 on the top, and 0 minus -4 on the bottom. So the top turns into, let's see, what is that going to be? 108 minus 52 is 56. The bottom will be a +4, and if I divide those, I would get a +14. So that's my common difference. Right, that kind of like that. Common difference. So that means he added 14 cards every year. So to fill in the rest of the table, we can just keep adding 14 to each year. And to go backwards, I can subtract 14. So I'm going to add 14 here and do, so 52 plus 14, 66. That's this year right here. And then I'm going to add 14 to that. 80, add 14, 94, and hopefully if I add 14 to that, I'm at 108, so that's good. So now I'm going to start back at 52 and subtract 14. So now to go backwards, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 14 cards each year. So 38 minus 14 to go backwards again, I'll be at 24, minus 14 again, I'll be at 10. Okay? So we just kept going backwards 14 or subtracting 14 this direction, since our common difference is adding 14. So I went backwards. So here's how many cards he started with. So really the question to part A is he had 10 cards to start his collection. Okay? Let's look at the rest of the problem now. Part B. Cody plans to keep the collection for a long time. How many cards will the collection contain 10 years from now? I think it's going to be better if we skip that problem and actually do part C next. It says, write an equation that determines the number of cards in the collection after n years. So it's saying this is going to be worth n. What does each number in your equation represent? So if we make an equation first, we can go back and find the collection in 10 years' time, how many are in there. So I'm going to go down here and write part C. So just like in another problem, we have the... and it wants to know from now, first of all. Let me back up here. It says it wants to know from now. So we're going to make our equation starting from today being the starting point rather than the 7 years ago. No. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. So from right now, how many cards he has. Okay. So my starting value is going to be 108 here. So I'm going to say T of n equals something plus 108. That's how much he's going to start with from today. And the constant, or the common difference, was plus 14, so I have 14n. So let's just say what each of these things mean. This is the common difference, so how much he adds every year. And this part is how many cards he has today. Number of cards today. And the question it wants to know from right now. Okay, so that's for part B. It says Cody plans to keep the collection for a long time. How many cards will the collection contain 10 years from right now? So that's the today spot on our table. So that's why I'm starting with the 108. So 10 years from today, if n is my number of years, I can just replace this n with the number 10. Okay, so 14 times 10 plus 108. 14 times 10 gives me 140 plus 108. That's going to give me 248 cards. All right, if he keeps going from today. All right. So again, we kind of treated this as the initial value since we were talking from current times, not 7 years ago when he started the collection. That's why it's when when n is 0, that's the starting value that we're using. So that's why we used 108 right here instead of the 10, because it's year 0, which is technically from today. Okay, so keep going on the rest of the paper, answer those questions on the form, please.